Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Um, it is, check the date. It's June 4th, 2020. I apologize if my energy is low. My body is really going through some turmoil right now, as our country is. And I wanted to come on here to talk about inclusivity in the corporate world, and just to touch on a post from Jackie Aina. She definitely knows how to get conversations going and started, and it has been almost 3 years since I've even felt comfortable about publicly speaking about my experience with corporate bullying, feeling that I was treated differently, and feeling that my talents and my abilities were ignored and pushed down because of the color of my skin, and also because of my body. Being plus sized is another thing, but I really want to focus on just how it made me feel to be treated differently and to be ostracized and left out of things because of the color of my skin. So I started working for a company in 2015. I was super excited to be a part of the team, and I just really felt like really grateful to be given an opportunity. The interview process was, I think I had 2 separate interviews on the same day. It's hard to remember, as you can imagine. That was in 2015. But it was coming up on almost 3 years that I had been out of college, and I wasn't able to get a job. I didn't want to tell myself, or I didn't want to believe that it was because of the color of my skin. And at the time, maybe it wasn't because of my body. I had recently lost 100 pounds, and I really thought that that was going to give me an extra push into breaking out into the world and getting that first job and paying off the debt that I accumulated and just doing my thing. So after almost 3 years of not being able to find a job, after working for free, after interning, after doing everything that I needed to do, I get hired at this company. Boom, I'm excited. It's my first day and I'm over the moon. So my first few months are really great. But I start to notice some things and some differences between myself and my colleagues. So I'm the only Black girl in my department, and at first it didn't really bother me. I wasn't raised to see color. I was raised to know, obviously, that other people would see my color, but I was never raised to mistreat other people because of the color of their skin. So that wasn't always on my mind when I went into the office. If you were white, if you were Indian, if you were Spanish, if you were Asian, if I connected with your personality, if I connected with your characteristics, like you were my girl, you were my guy, and that was it. Your skin didn't matter to me. So I befriended a top-level executive at the company who also happened to have my same skin tone. However, she was not born and raised here in the States, so I didn't quite know if she had experienced colorism where she was from, but I automatically connected with her because she saw me. She could tell if I was having a bad day. She could tell if something was off. She cared and she saw me. So even to this day, I just have love for her. And if she sees this video, she knows who she is. And I just want you to know that I will love you forever. So I started to hear, as I spent more time working there, you know, people would say, hey, why didn't you go to this trade show? Or why didn't you go to this meeting? And it was always like I was left in the dark. I wouldn't have, you know, meetings with my boss at the time. And it had got back to me that she wanted me to stay at the office. Now, obviously at the time I was hired as an assistant, and for me, I would imagine that an assistant is supposed to be almost like your shadow, and is supposed to be learning, and is supposed to be able to catch all the details that you don't catch, or, you know, be the note taker, or be the one to pick up any slack if there is anything. But I didn't want to be the noisemaker. I didn't want to be the black girl who was causing the problems, or who was, you know, who didn't know her place. So for a while, I didn't say anything. But I started to notice that I was being made to feel like I didn't have a voice. And at one point, one of the executives, I used to feel really comfortable to go and sit down and talk to her. I remember saying to her, like, I just feel like I don't have a voice. Like, I feel like I can't say anything. And she just looked at me and she was like, well, sometimes we don't have a voice. And from that day, I can remember feeling like I had lost an ally, feeling like I had lost a sister, feeling like I had lost someone that I could feel confident in speaking to in a place of, you know, turmoil. And from that day, like, I don't think I ever spoke to her again. And the reason why I had come to her at that point to tell her that I felt like I didn't have a voice was because I couldn't disagree with anything. If I disagreed or raised my hand about something, oh, Joy Louise has an attitude. She's difficult to work with. You know, if I didn't roll over, there was one thing that happened that I just kind of had to put my foot down on. And it was mainly because I was going to be the person conducting the event, conducting the meeting, conducting the walkthrough. And there was this concept, which goes to what Jackie is saying, where there was a good girl, bad girl concept for this fashion collection. And the good girl was in a white t-shirt and the bad girl was in a black t-shirt. And I raised my hand in a meeting and I said, and I almost apologized, because I can remember this vividly. I said, I don't think we should do the t-shirts. They're t-shirts, you know, the editors aren't going to be missing anything. But I'm offended by the bad girl being dressed in black and her opponent or her opposite being dressed in white. Thankfully, we didn't show it and we didn't push it, but I definitely became almost blacklisted for speaking up about that. I wasn't going to trade shows. I wasn't being able to go to meetings. I was constantly being kept at the office, or I was the setup and cleanup crew for in-store events, or, you know, which I didn't mind because I enjoyed the process, but it was stunting my growth in the industry. And I went through 3 different supervisors during my time at this company. And by the time the second one came around, I honestly felt that one of my colleagues was getting in her ear about me. I don't know why this girl had it out for me, but during that time, my life working at this place was just spiraling out of control. I developed severe depression and anxiety. I constantly felt like I had to be looking over my shoulder. It was everything from how I was handling my interns to, you know, sourcing products for events. I just felt like I couldn't do anything right in the supervisor's eyes. And it was getting back to me that there were people, or that there was someone out for me. And it was from the second that I came through the door that this person wanted nothing to do with me. This person wanted me gone. This person didn't want to help me or train me in any way. So I was almost like damned from the door. I sometimes would wonder how I even got the job, to be honest. But I knew that it had to be this woman who essentially looked like me that had to like vouch for me to get me in there. Like, I believe to this day that she was the person who hired me. And it had gotten so bad to the point where I would go in her office and cry. And she would tell me about how she did experience the same things in this country, even though she wasn't born and raised here. And, you know, she did her best to encourage me and really help me to understand that I had to be tougher, that I had to do more, that I had to fight harder. And I'm just so sorry, because I'm trying to hold myself together so that you can understand what I'm saying. But like, there were times where I didn't want to get out of bed. I can remember waking up one morning and just running into my mom's room and just wanting her to hold me, because I couldn't stop shaking and I was terrified of going to work. Something about getting on the train and walking up 7th Avenue and just feeling like I was suffocating. I can remember one day calling my primary physician's office because I didn't know who else to call, because I was legit having a panic attack in front of the Macy's in Herald Square. And I just remember her telling me to bite my fist. And she was just like, just breathe. And it got so bad to the point where, and I made it a point to never let them see me cry. As Black women, we feel like we have to be so strong and never show weakness. And there were people that worked out at our warehouse that would come and see me and they would say, I hate the way they treat you. I see how hard you work and you don't get the recognition. I hate the way they treat you. And I would do my best to smile. And they would say, I always see you smiling. You're always so happy. But I see how they treat you. And I can remember the day this gentleman said that to me. He noticed. And I can remember going out on the stairwell and dropping to my knees, gasping for air, just not knowing what to do, because I loved my job. I loved what I was doing, you know, and I didn't want to be ungrateful because I had prayed for this. But no matter who I talked to, if I talked to HR, if I talked to my supervisor, all I was doing was creating problems for them, because I wanted to be treated fairly and treated equally and given the same opportunities. And it was like, I can remember my second supervisor talking down to me and saying, you're an associate, public relations associate. Like, there are things that you don't know that you should know. And I'm so sorry that you don't. And it was just like, either you're gonna say that to teach me what I should know, or you're gonna try to use it to push me down. And what she didn't know is that I had that other executive showing me the ropes. And I had people coaching me that used to work there, and I was doing a great job, but they couldn't see past my skin. They couldn't see past the fact that I couldn't wear a lot of the clothes, you know, at this brand. They couldn't see past the outside. And I can remember sitting at a meeting, like, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink. I have lymphedema, and alcohol is an inflammatory for me. And I just don't like the taste of alcohol. So I'm not gonna drink because it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's not enjoyable for me. So what's the point of me doing it? So I can remember my new supervisor calling that out about me. And she's like, well, I don't trust anyone that doesn't drink. And I can remember being upset about it. But it was yet another point where I was like, okay, you're gonna pick and choose your battles. That's not as offensive as you not being taken to a trade show because of the color of your skin. Like, if you don't drink, fine. Like, you're at work, you're not supposed to be drinking anyway. So things just really got worse from there. If I had an opinion, I was being combative. If I, you know, disagreed with something, I was being abrasive. And it just really, really, really got out of hand, to the point where my anxiety became extremely severe and I had to take some time off from work. I think I was out for 3 months, and it just seemed like my time was up there. I had given them what they wanted. I had unintentionally quit. I'm not even sure that legally they're allowed to lay someone off after something like that. But I was laid off when I returned to work about maybe a month and a half later. And I lost that fight. And it sucks. But I can tell you that where I work now, I'm much more appreciative of how I'm treated. And I can't even say if I lost that fight or anything like that, but this is something that is happening. Even if it goes back to, you know, the coolest monkey in the jungle shirt, or just lack of diversity in corporate offices and lack of representation of all nationalities, even beyond, you know, Black people. It just needs to change. And I'm sorry the light is kind of going away here, but I just wanted to make sure I did this video while it was fresh in my mind. And I want to say thank you to Jackie for starting this conversation. And it definitely needs to change. We need to have more diversity in our beauty brands, in our fashion brands. It just has to get better. Thank you for your time. Bye.